Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about the George Orwell novel 1984 and offer some parallels with the current neoliberal political economy that we find ourselves in 2025. So Orwell's 1984 is a dystopian novel set in the year 1984, and we find a world where we've been split up into three super states, kind of super political organizations, and the one that we focus on in Europe is Oceania. Now, the rulers politically at this point are known as the party, and we live in a post-capitalist state where capitalism has been destroyed and production is now controlled solely by the party. And as part of the party, we have the inner party, the outer party, and then the proles, who are basically the working class, right? Who don't really have much say or influence. They kind of don't get involved politically. The inner party is kind of like the upper class, outer party kind of akin to the middle class. But what we see in the novel is something called the fault police and fault crime. So unless you align yourself with the faults of the party, then you're going to be told on by different members of society, and if found out, you will become a political prisoner. And people often in the novel get vaporized, kind of just wiped out of existence for any dissent. And I wanted to draw the parallel with the modern day neoliberal economics that we have and the media landscape that we have. So yes, we're allowed free speech in theory, but in practice, where do we see this in terms of media news outlets? It's only more recently, the last kind of year, 2 years, where things like wealth taxes have been considered and listened to and even put or posed to the mainstream. Prior to this, we operate in essentially a fault police society, whereby the concept of economic ideas, different ideas, isn't really a thing. We have this one way of doing economics, and that is it. But as mentioned, we've said in previous videos, we're seeing a situation now where the climate is breaking down. People can't afford homes. People can't afford the cost of living. So who is this economy benefiting? Who is this economy working for? Well, just as is the case in 1984, the economy there is working for the inner party. The economy there is working to perpetuate power, to maintain the status quo. And this is essentially what neoliberalism does. It maintains power. It seeks to maintain itself and to maintain power. And that brings me on to another parallel in the book 1984. It's claimed that they've reached kind of the end of history. So there's no need for debate now. We've reached the end of history. We have this state of perpetual war, and things are always going to be this way. And again, under neoliberalism in real life, we kind of reached this agreement, this agenda. Not democratically, but it was enforced upon us that we've reached the end of history. That now we can just technocratically manage the economy, and it doesn't really matter who's in power, left or right. There's a certain way that you manage an economy, that you run an economy, and that we can kind of put everything into a spreadsheet, and the best outcome will lead to the best outcomes for everybody, without considering any political implication, without considering who's going to win, who's going to lose. And that's exactly what's done in 1984, with the assumption that what's best for the party is best for everybody. Only now in real life, what we assume is what is best for capital is best for everybody. But clearly that's not the case. Maybe it was, right? We said before on this channel, maybe that was the case at a certain period in time when economic growth led to an increase in living standards. But it's pretty evident at the moment that that's not the case. That is no longer happening. And we're seeing an ever increasing concentration of wealth into a small few hands. Well, that can't carry on. Well, it can. It's not going to lead to good outcomes, is it, for the majority of people? So I just wanted to make a few of those comparisons, guys. 1984, written, I believe, in the 1940s, you know, I guess it was meant to be a warning, a dystopian warning about, you know, what might happen, what could happen. And to be honest, Orwell probably wouldn't be very happy seeing the state of the world at the moment. But the important thing is, we can change it. But as we've said, we've got to be willing to. There needs to be, firstly, the awareness, and secondly, the willingness to do so. So guys, if you've read 1984, let me know below in the comments what are your thoughts or your takes on it. To be honest with you, I've not actually finished the entire book. I've got a couple of chapters left, so I'm going to get stuck into that, and I might do another little video after. But yeah, let me know below. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.